Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another gameplay video. This time we have myself on the right playing Towa, and this is the most updated version of Towa that I have with the draft box stuff. A lot of good black support there. You actually see the SS3 trunks in my opening hand. On the left, we have my friend Nick playing red-green Pan. This is pre-set 8, which I think is important to note because I think one of the main inclusions of this deck would probably be Beerus Godly Majesty, but we just, we recorded this before set 8 actually came out. So bear that in mind. That's definitely an include we would want to see in the deck, in my opinion. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. Hit that bell so you never miss a video. Want to buy any of the cards you see in this video, make sure to use my link to either TCG Player or Beater Collectibles in the description below. So turn 1, you got me charging a SS3 Trunks. Now I have that card in the deck so I can be aggressive against certain strategies, especially if you drop a turn 2 Vegeta Time Regulator. And that card draws you a card from playing the Trunks with Overwhelm. That's super plus, because then when you're discarding a card for the SS3 Trunks' effect, you're really not losing any value. You got a free card off the Vegeta, and then you just get rid of that free card for the Double Strike crit. Your opponent loses 2 resources on the exchange, and you've only really lost 1, which is really, really strong. And I don't feel like I want to aggro the Pan player here. I don't want to aggro Pan. I really just want to play the slow game, and I want to resolve as many Miras as possible. So I think that's a strategy I want to go with this game. I don't want to be very aggressive, so that's why I charge the Trunks there. But Nick is on the play first, so he has a little bit of an advantage. He's going to play that 2-drop Trunks, which allows him to draw 2. That's a really big hindrance to what I'm trying to do to him, which is, essentially control his hand. So he's going to start putting on the aggro, leader swing, and the Trunk swing. I really don't care about the first 2 damage, but 6 to 4 life is really where you want to stay with Towa, depending on the matchup. And I think I'm more comfortable going to 4 against Pan, because they obviously don't really have a quad striker unless you play into the secret rare. But this deck's not very aggressive, Towa, I mean, so you're not really gonna be putting them to like 2 life for it to be live. And they don't really have triple strikers either for the most part. So I'm pretty okay with going to 4 against them. I might take the next 2 damage, but I also will probably start comboing out of the leader swings just so that I don't have to take, bigger damage later on that I don't want to take. With decks like Towa, it is more advantageous to just combo out of those attacks. And I will steal his Trunks here, which is a really big tempo swing. If he did play Chain Zeno, which he does not typically, or he does not personally play in this build, but red-green players can still play Chain Zeno. So I stole his evolution piece, which is pretty helpful. Setting up another Kami here, which Pan can definitely go very, very wide. So having those Kamis can definitely scare him into not doing so. Dende, pretty much dead in this matchup. I unfortunately milled the 1-drop Kai blocker. That would have been pretty cool to drop on him, actually. But yeah, I play as a 1-of and happened to mill it, so that's that. And you'll notice Nick also plays the SS3 Trunks in his deck. If you guys remember his skillless Veggie deck from, I think like a week ago, I think SS3 Overwhelm Trunks is his favorite card at this point. It's a great Overwhelm card. I mean, it helps you put pressure on, helps you get your opponent to lethal range. It's just a really solid card overall. If you're looking at generic Overwhelms and you can afford it, I think it's like $15 or more at this point. It really is a solid Overwhelm staple to consider. His hand is kind of full of Overwhelm, though. He does have the 5-drop Mass Sand, which would actually make me pretty sad if he dropped it, but he doesn't have an efficient way to really fill the drop. And he is going to play his Broly to maybe pitch a card. Pretty interesting there. And he's just going to trade into the 2-drop Trunks. And it is a 20k. He did forget to draw, so he's going to do that. And another black card in his hand. Not really things he wants to see. He can't really charge those very well. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm going to take it and go to 5. Again, not too concerned about it. And at this point, I've seen 2 Miras outside my deck where I don't want them. One's in my energy, which is fine. You can get away with charging 1. One's in my drop area. So hopefully the last 2 are in my deck and not in my life. Oh, there's another one that gets milled right there. And I just reveal the last one in my hand. So I know the last one is in the deck. I can potentially mill it, which would be pretty bad. But I do grab the Mira that allows me to play it from my warp. But that one is susceptible to all of Pan's counterplays, whether it's Denial of Hope or Vegeta the Cruel. Those can both destroy my overall Mira play. I need to play the 5-drop essentially to be safe from either of those cards, because it does have Deflect and it is a 5-drop. But that might not be the case in this game if I end up milling that 4th one. We'll see. So now I'm just going to trade into his Broly here with my Mira. Nick's going to save it with the Trunks. He does have, a lot of Overwhelm in his hand, so getting rid of those makes sense. I'm going to attack into the Broly and combo a 5k, which is essentially the same as me defending a damage with one of those 5ks, and I made him waste a card in his hand, which is exactly what I want to do. So things are going okay here. Looks like we're passing after that with 3 energy up. Don't have Vegeta time regulator, which is pretty unfortunate. That would have been the perfect turn to play it because he did not have the available energy to play Vegeta the Cruel. So I do kind of wish that I had the regulator. Of course, it's an integral engine piece, and he is going to opt to charge the black card here. Wants to keep the Vegeta the Cruel in his hand, and it can definitely be high value for him. Vegeta the Cruel does kind of wreck Towa, so to speak, especially when they're trying to drop time regulators. Unfortunately, I didn't have mine on time, so that kind of sucks, but he's going to draw 2 off of the Trunks there. Still at 8 life, though, so he's got a lot of cards he's not seeing at the moment, and I'm not really trying to give them to him right now. I am going to combo the Kami. We're going to Power Burst. Finally grab the 1-drop Kai blocker back. But my engine is very, very slow, and I'm in trouble of milling my last Mira, so this can really go either way at this point. Counting up my drop, my warp. You do have to manage your warp really, really well to play Towa. You got to make sure that if you're going to Mira Union Absorb, you don't take too many Towas out of your warp, or you don't take too many cards out of your warp, so that you're still able to awaken on turn 4. You got to make sure you do that. We are going to charge a Towa. I believe at this point I have 2 Towas in my warp, so I'm really okay for Union Absorbing. Not really in any type of threat there. So what I'm going to do here first is play the 5-drop Mira. Since I know the last Mira is in my deck, before I use my leader effect to mill and search, I want to just get the Union Absorb over with so that I don't mill it off my leader effect. But first, I will swing the 5-drop Mira into the Trunks because the Mira does restand itself when it Union Absorbs. So we're just getting some max value there. He can't really do anything that's going to destroy my Mira mid-battle, I don't think. Like, even if he all you got at it, it would still be a 5k. And I don't think he plays anything else that could potentially remove the power of it. So I am going to make him warp 3 cards here. He's only got 5, so that's pretty insane. I am going to also give this Mira crit and swing for double strike, so he's not really going to get any cards off of that. So it is looking pretty good for me right now. So those are the 3 he's going to warp. He's going to warp Fearless Pan, a super combo, and a double shot Vegeta. I think I agree with it for the most part. Milling a super combo, though, never what you want to see in Towa, but it happens. Self-mill in this game is weird for that reason. Milling super combos, pretty unfortunate. So we're going to awaken here, untap the 1, draw a card, and now again we do have access to giving Mira crit. An overwhelm play would be great, though. And that Mira right there is going to make him get rid of his last card. He's going to counterplay with the Vegeta, though. So he's still going to get rid of the Digging Deep in his hand. He gets to draw 1. Now I'm just checking through to see what I've gone through. That's going to be the card I warp off the Vegeta the Cruel, that 7-drop Mirror right there. Leader effect's going to give my 7-drop Mirror Creator Absorb crit. And we're going to swing at him for a very large double strike, and he's just going to take it. Not much you can do about it. 1 card in hand with 1 Vegeta boy on board. His leader's not awakened, so he doesn't really have access to that type of pressure from his leader. I do drop the blocker and draw a card. I'm pretty safe here to tap out, I think, on turn 4. I don't really think Nick has anything too crazy. I think he'd have to rip up Familial Bonds. Oh, but he does have a draw, too. That's quite good. That is quite good. So that's 20k. He's going to draw 2 cards off of it. Sankaba is also good. So we're going Vegeta into leader. I'll take it and go to 4 pretty easily. I'll block the 20k. Because really, why not? Like, I'm not afraid of any huge bombs in the deck, per se. So might as well use 1 card to get out of that 20k swing. Sankaba coming down. And that's the Familial Bonds he needed. He won't be able to use this turn, but next turn that is going to be live. He has a Digging Deep and drop as well, which is going to allow him to do things. And he's in a super combo without even being able to draw here. So he just wants to put the pressure on. Luckily, I have a super combo of my own, and all I have to give up is 5k more. If I didn't have a super combo, though, that would have been a pretty troubling swing. I probably would have to lose 3 cards from my hand to not take the damage if I didn't want to. And I don't think I want to go to 2. 2 is pretty threatening range here. I finally draw into a Vegeta time regulator. Is it even worth it to play at this point? We'll see, I guess. Another Trunks in charge. We don't really need him at this point. We're already at the turn where we're playing Miras, so now we're going to go a leader into Kaba just to clear it off. The leader doesn't draw anything at this point, so just use it to pick off little weenies. That's okay. Kaba is the most threatening one at this point. He is going to bring in double shot. Draw the card off the leader. He's going to let the Kaba die. He is tapped out here, though. And I think he just drew another Familial Bonds, which is pretty good at this point. So we're playing double Vegeta time regulator. So now we are going to be plussing. And you see that nice little gold one from Nationals. That's pretty awesome. Glad I drew that one for this game. We're going to overwhelm the Towa once again. Now I get to resolve both regulators. Get some key pieces back in my deck. A Mira, a blocker that I can bring out with Toki Toki. Drawing 2, pretty good. Towa is going to take the Trunks once again. Not looking too great for Nick here. We're going to give the 7-drop Mira crit again, it looks like. But I'm going to swing at the Vegeta on his board. I'm not ready to awaken him yet. I don't want to awaken him. I want to get off another Mira play, I think, before I do that. But he does have double Familial Bonds in hand, which is pretty OP. He can use both of them this turn because he has 4 energy and he'll awaken if he plays a Digging Deep. So Nick's looking in a pretty decent position here. Smart use of the black energy there, tapping it for the Familial Bonds, only one specified red. So that's a base 20k Digging Deep Vegeta. When he attacks with it, he'll gain another 5 because of his own effect, and he can self-awaken with it. So Digging Deep going into the regulator. He wants to try and cut off my advantage here. And he can finally awaken again, which is really strong. I'll let it go. Yeah, the fact that I still have the 1 on the board, I'm perfectly okay with that. And he could just swing into it the Digging Deep again, so not worth the resources to save it there. Not worth it at all. You do have to pick your battles in this game. I think I wrote a Patreon article about that, picking your battles, and that's one that you just can't win. He'll just swing at it again. You'll lose way too many resources. It's not going to go well. He can draw a lot of cards this turn as well. He can summon that Trunks again, draw 2 more cards, draw 1 off the leader swing. That's a lot of cards drawn right there. Is he going to bring back the Broly, though? Make me pitch a card instead. Either way, it's the same amount of advantage, realistically. But I guess if he feels like he doesn't necessarily need answers, he just wants me to start losing advantage, it makes sense, I guess. There's 2 different ways you can look at it. Like, one, if he needs more cards, if he needs to find more cards, he could have played the Trunks. But I guess he feels like he has a lot of cards, and he has a lot of threats in his hand. Like, it almost feels like he can end the game this turn with the double 1-drop Kaba in hand. It's pretty nuts. Really? He's going to pass turn there, not try and go for game. That, I think, might have been a mistake on Nick's part, because I only had the 1 energy. At that point, I would have had to use the God Trick on my leader, and I would have been tapped out for negates. So that means I would have had to use life for negates. And he had 2 double strikes in hand that would have drawn him a card each. I don't think I agree with Nick on passing turn there, but we'll see. I guess he figures he has the energy for Denial of Hope. But if I do a Mira play, it's not really going to do too much. Get a draw off Dende. I believe we have 5 cards in drop. I think I'm aiming for that 7-drop Mira in my hand. So I need to get 2 more cards into my drop. And with 2 Dendes that replace themselves, pretty easy to do. Pretty easy to do. I can just combo them away on any of these swings. Towa looks like it's going to go at leader. I'm going to combo both of the Dendes. So that'll put Nick to 2, I believe. It's hard to see from the screen here. But we do have 7 now to play the Mira. And this card's just so strong, man. I played it as a 3-of in this deck, and it's just so good. Like, it's not very often you bring it off Union Absorption, but like once you get into the late game, like a turn like this is a perfect example of a turn like this. You know, I'm defending, using cards from my hand to combo to defend, and you get 7 in the drop relatively easily. especially if you use your leader effect the turn before to put 3 back in the drop and don't overwhelm. You get the 7 pretty easily, and it's such a big pressuring swing. It really allows Towa to have some finishing power. So that's a 40k double strike at the leader, 50k. And I do think I gave this mirror a crit here as well. So that's 50, 55. I want him to take this double strike crit, and that, yep, okay, so he was at 3, now he's at 1, and this last Mira is going in, and he doesn't have a negate. After image probably wouldn't have even helped. He would have had to have Is That All You Got, but it didn't seem to have it there, and I kind of had to read it and have it. Keeping up the 2 showed he had Denial of Hope. He could have easily had Is That All You Got, but yeah, I think Nick would have actually benefited from going in on that point. Like, he did have double denial, which is pretty bricky, but he could have went in a little harder. I think with the double Kaba that turn, maybe killed me, but it would have been pretty tough for him. But overall, guys, that was the game. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.